This video, just like many other videos, are about applied music theory. The topic shouldn't be scary, it's really simple, and that's why I prepared for you a free mini music theory course. It's completely free, and it's very easy to follow, and it's basically the key that is going to unlock all the other videos on this channel. Check it out, guitarinfusion.com, but for now, let's get into this video. Okay, that was fun. Hi, today we're talking about something that we don't often talk about. We're talking about these shreddy licks. Now, the reason we don't talk about it is that really the main focus of this channel is expression and telling your own personal musical story, as you know. Yet, these kind of lines are super useful sometimes. Sometimes you want to let loose. Sometimes you want to say something that makes a statement that is a little different than that, for example, right? Than those melodic lines. That's what it's all about today. We're going to talk about sweeping pentatonic scales. Yes, and that is coming up right after this. Hi, my name is David Wallerman. Welcome to this channel, which is all about helping guitar players around the world tell their own musical story using this instrument. That's what it's all about. And today we're looking at the sweeping technique using some scales that are not traditionally thought of as sweepable scale. I'm talking about the pentatonic scales, and I'm talking about the two-note pentatonic scales. You know them, hopefully. If not, check out my channel. There is a bunch of lessons on pentatonic scales, but that's what we're going to do today. So before we get started, I have a PDF for you that I'm actually going to follow today. It's this one right here with the different shapes that are going to go through. It's sometimes easier to have that under your eyes when you're practicing. So you can grab that for free. The link is below. You just follow the link, enter a valid email address, and you'll be sent these charts right away. And you don't have to do it now, but you can if you want. Just pause the video and let's get started right away. We're going to start talking about what the sweeping technique is. And let's do that with this. We'll do a close-up here. So what is the sweeping technique? Sweeping is basically just like when you're sweeping with a broom. You're sweeping across the string. So really when you're I'm going to change my tone here to illustrate this. When you're strumming a chord, well, you did the sweeping movement with your right hand. But that's only half of the battle, half of the technique. Because sweeping needs to have each notes that you're playing heard one at a time. So when you're strumming, you're hearing a bunch of notes. You don't want that. You really want to have that separation. So that means that you need a really strong synchronization on both hands. This is not per se a lesson on acquiring that technique. It's more a lesson on how you can use that technique over shapes that are not necessarily thought of to be sweep friendly. But that's what it is. So basically, because the sweeping movement is a sweep across the strings, whether you're going from the low E string to the high string or the high to the low, that means that you need to have a series of notes, individual notes on consecutive strings. If you have more than one note, well, that is no longer sweeping. It's not a continuous movement. And so pentatonic scales are pretty awesome for that, because if you look at the traditional shapes of the pentatonic scales, the two-note per string shapes, for example, we're going to be in A for this series. The first position right here, A being the low E string 5th fret, we would have two notes per string. 5, 8, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 8, 5, 8, right? And if we consider that, we really have, within one position, you can either be on the left side towards the neck or the right side towards the bridge, right? And if you play a series of notes. It doesn't matter if they're on the left or the right side, but on consecutive strings, because of the nature of that scale, you are contained in a small area of the fretboard, which is very useful for a sweep. You don't have to do super wide extensions, right? So in that sense, I think the traditional pentatonic scale shapes are super sweepable, right? Because you don't have to do big extensions like that. There are multiple ways of sweeping pentatonic scales. Let's say that we are sweeping all the left notes in that position. So left, right, left, 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 left. Well, that's it. But that's not super easy because that's just one finger. And when you have a bar like that, when you're doing a bar with one finger, sweeping more than 3 notes becomes quickly really difficult because you've got to mute everything. You've got to make sure only one note sounds at the same time. So we're going to try to avoid, as much as possible, that bar thing because it's going to tend to sound like a chord. So here are a few ideas, and I really recommend that you download the PDF and you explore these on your own. But we're going to come up with a system on these pentatonic scales that we will apply to the 5 positions of these pentatonic scales, and we'll see what we can do. So here is one that I came up with. And again, I want you to explore this, but instead of thinking in terms of frets, notes, and so forth, I'm going to assume that you know that first position of the pentatonic scale, and we're going to replace this 5, 8, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7 with this left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. We're going to descend this for this particular lick, this idea. And we're going to start with the highest note that we encounter in our position. So that'll be a right note, right? Because left, right, left, right. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to do right with a down movement. So down with right, up, that's the pick direction, up, left, up, right, up, right, up, right. Okay, so we're doing this across 4 strings. Right, left, 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 right. Okay, now all these when we have the same movement, so right, down, up, 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 that's all sweepable. Up, 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 up. Okay, so down, up, 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 down. We need to talk a little bit about the fingering here. Remember I told you that the bar shapes are not super useful for sweeping because there's a tendency to have 2 notes ring at the same time and you really want that separation. Let's talk a little bit about fingering. So instead of saying down, up, 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 down, or instead of saying 8, 5, 8, 7, 7, 5, this is what I'm going to say. Pinky, index, pinky, ring, and we want to avoid that bar thing, right? We don't want to do a ring, ring here. We can, but we're going to want to avoid that to clean things up. So we're going to do pinky, index, pinky, ring, middle, index. This is a little uncomfortable. Let's talk about that a little bit. This is a little uncomfortable, not using a bar because we're used to trying to go with the easiest route. Well, sometimes the easiest route is not the easiest route because it will lead to problems like that bar thing. So what I do here is kind of a roll. I've got pinky, index, pinky, ring. This is where the roll happens. Between the ring and the middle, you're kind of like rolling, almost like you're steering something with your wrist here. That's what I mean by the roll, so that you can position your fingers so that each finger, the ring and the middle in this case, has enough space to do that thing. So I would recommend just taking the last 3 notes of this lick. 1, 2, 3. That's up, up, down. And just practice that. We're isolating the problem and trying it in different areas of the fretboard. So what was it? It was, yeah, that. That technique, those 3 notes are super useful when we're going to go through these different exercises. Okay, so to recap, this is what we have. We have right, left, right, 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 left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 notes. Da, ga, da, ga, da, ga. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Make sure that every single note that you're playing is super clean and very controlled. I would probably spend 80% of my practice at that speed, making sure that every muscle involved, every tendon involved, everything involved in your body responds and is placed exactly where it should be placed. Now that you have that formula, we can apply it to the other positions, the 5 other positions, which also share the same characteristics, 2 notes per string. So if we move on to the next position, we're in A. This time, from the low E string to the high E string, we'll have frets 8, 10, 7, 10, 7, 10, 7, 9, 8, 10, 8, 10. We just apply the same thing, the same movement here. We've got right, left, right, 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 left. Now the frets are going to change. Different fingers involved, and here we don't have that thing that we had earlier. The roll. The roll is not involved here, but do it slow so that you really have tons of control. And what happens when you're playing really slow like that, you are almost injecting into your fingers memory. You're downloading something in your fingers so that you no longer have to rely on this, but you dump what's here into your fingers so that you can focus on something else, maybe on where the song is going, or maybe on, gosh, am I doing this too much? Do I need to go back to melodic playing? That kind of thing. So that's why you really need to do it slowly. If you do it too fast, that transfer of information is not going to happen in your fingers. So I'm going to go through the 5 different shapes here really slowly at the speed that you should take it, and notice the pattern that is going on here. First position in A minor. Okay, the next one. Next one. Next one. That there was a roll right here. You see? Right there. The following one. Okay, we need to talk about this 5th position because something is going on here. We've got frets 17, 15, 17, 17, 17. 17, 17, 17. That's, in order to achieve this correctly, we need to do ring, index, ring, middle, that's the roll. And then we're not going to use our index here because the index needs to go to the same string 3 frets lower here. And why wouldn't we do this? Because there is a possibility of having this slide sound. We don't want that. We want everything to sound super mechanical, like that. Every note's distinct. So what we're going to do here is we've got the roll between the 2nd and the 3rd string, ring, middle, and then the middle is going to do a bar. Yes, we're going to cheat a little bit, but for the bar, instead of when we reach that 3rd string, instead of barring the 3rd and the 4th, we're only going to play the 3rd string, and then I'm going to, again, instead of that movement, it's going to be that movement, like that. The wrist is going up like this, so that we can reach with the tip of the finger that 4th string, like that. And then we're back in that first position, an octave higher. Now, we practice with a clean tone. I'm gonna switch here to my lead preset. The lead thing with distortion, when you're sweeping, there is a blessing and a curse here. The blessing is that it's a little more forgiving. It's a little more forgiving, but if you do make a mistake, well, it's going to be amplified. So it's kind of a balance thing. It's going to cover the mistakes as far as really having these individual notes hitting each other. But because everything is amplified, it's also going to amplify problems that you might have with bars. if there's a tiny little bit of the last note that resonates, it's really going to resonate. So you need to be careful. I would practice some clean, some distortion. It's a little bit different, a little more hard to control here. But eventually, after spinning 80% of your time, making sure that everything is smooth and super mechanical and everything is embedded in your fingers, that memory is dumped in there, then you try it at higher speed. See, I need to see what I'm saying? This, not super clean. So I need to go back to this. I would probably do this something like 30 minutes and then it'll clean things up. You clean things up at slower tempo and then you play it fast once all that is transferred. That's what I have for you. Now there's a lot of possibilities. This is only one idea, but if you're not comfortable with the 4-string sweep, you can do it on 3. I'm gonna switch to clean here. You can do that with 3 strings. So you can do right, left, right, right, left. I need to practice. I need to download that PDF, but you get the idea. There's a lot of possibilities, and then you can try it ascending and just explore the fretboard. But that's what I have for you today. Remember to grab this. Link is below. It's free. Download that. You'll be added to my newsletter. You can unsubscribe anytime. And that's what I had. I hope you enjoyed today's video and practice well. And remember that these techniques are just tools to express yourself. That's really what this is all about. If you can express who you truly are on the instrument, the impact on the listener is going to be much wider than if you were to just do that. Well, especially that. But you get the idea, right? If this is your first visit, I really appreciate your time. I hope you got something out of this. And if you liked what you saw, you should consider subscribing and hitting the bell so that you're notified whenever a new video comes out. These videos come out Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 1 o'clock. There you go. You know it now. US Mountain Time. Every week, 3 videos, and just like this, helping guitar players just like you around the world find their unique voice and express themselves truly. Thanks for watching this. I'll see you very soon, and sweep well, practice well. See you next time.